At one point, Donald Trump was just a wealthy businessman who also starred in a reality TV show about business. He was known for his hotels, other business ventures, and telling athletes, celebrities, musicians his now infamous catchphrase, "You're fired." Fast forward to the present day, and he's potentially going to have to stand trial at an impeachment hearing, should it get to that point. His 4 years in the Oval Office have come and gone, and to no surprise, over those 4 years, President Trump has made himself a handful of enemies. If not enemies, we'll just say people, companies, or brands who completely disassociated themselves with the former prez. Today on InformOverload, we're counting down the top 10 companies that banned President Donald Trump for life. And to no surprise, the majority, if not all of these bans happened after the storming of the Capitol building. Either way, smash that like button, let's get into things. Starting us off with number 10, we got Twitter. The first of many platforms to put an end to what many believe divided the country in the first place, Trump's negative, divisive rhetoric. As you likely know, for years, even prior to him taking the Oval Office, Trump would turn to Twitter to either get his message across or slander his opponents. Whether it was talking about how the election was rigged and completely fraudulent, or simply wanted to question the intelligence or mental state of his competition, Joe Biden, it seems Trump used Twitter all the time. All hours of the night he'd be tweeting, and throughout the day, he'd be posting as well, either retweeting anyone showing him support, or talking about how the fake media and news is out to get him. And at first, it seems Twitter didn't want to ban him, as they tried working with the guy, putting disclaimers under the majority of his tweets, letting people know to click for more information regarding the potentially false claims. However, it wouldn't be long before Trump would be held accountable for inciting violence at the riot at the Capitol building. Twitter took it upon themselves almost immediately to remove not only his personal account, but his ability to tweet from the official POTUS Twitter account as well. Safe to say Jack over at Twitter is done with Trump's politics, and it seems Trump may need to find a new home to speak with his fans around the clock. On to number 9, Shopify. I know it may seem incredibly random that Shopify of all companies would ban Trump. It's literally just a platform to support storefronts. And as we know, with his slogan to make America great again, or keep it great, or build the wall, among many other sayings, well, it's all been turned into merchandise. Aside from your standard Trump 2020 tees and hats, it seems storefronts were also selling other Trump-inspired merchandise, and following the incident at the Capitol, well, that wasn't gonna fly anymore. More specifically, Shopify took down both the Trump Organization and Trump campaign merchandise storefronts. And when asked why, they specifically referred to Trump's actions and what they led to. A spokesperson released a statement reading, I quote, "Shopify does not tolerate actions that incite violence. Based on recent events, we have determined that the actions by President Donald J. Trump violate our acceptable use policy, which prohibits promotion or supports of organizations, platforms, or people that threaten or condone violence to further a cause. As a result, we have terminated stores affiliated with President Trump." Number 8, Facebook and Instagram. Given that both platforms are owned by Mark Zuckerberg, I figured it's only fair to put them together as one number. Unlike Twitter, it seems Trump didn't seem to care all that much to use any other platform, although he or his team did post on Facebook as well as Instagram, just not nearly as much as Twitter. That being said, following the previously mentioned incident that took place on January 6th at the Capitol, a handful of companies, including numerous social media platforms, felt it was in the country and potentially the world's best interest to remove him from their platforms. With this in mind, he was removed from Facebook and Instagram, with Zuck explaining, I quote, "We believe the risks of allowing the president to continue to use our service during this period are simply too great. Therefore, we are extending the block we have placed on his Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely, and for at least the next 2 weeks until the peaceful transition of power is complete." The inauguration was more than a week ago, and although it seems I can find Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts, they haven't been updated since January 6th. So maybe they exist, but he can't post, or he's choosing not to, but as per recent reports, it seems the council at Facebook is still trying to decide whether or not to allow him back on the platform, so maybe he just can't post. On to number 7, Deutsche Bank. Well, it actually seems like numerous banks decided to cut ties with Trump. However, Deutsche was the first. Back in the 80s and 90s when other banks didn't want anything to do with Trump, Deutsche was there. In fact, it was after a handful of bankruptcies that the others turned Trump away, but Deutsche didn't. Yet after what happened at the Capitol, the German bank decided enough was enough and potentially dealt the biggest blow of all to the Trump family. Reports claim the Trump Organization, which is run by his 2 sons, owes the bank a total of about $340 million in loans. Over the years, the 2 sides have been involved in some controversies, with Trump even suing the bank and blaming them for some of his business decisions and losses. They still stood by him. However, this was the last straw, and it seems this bank cutting ties had a domino effect, as other banks, including Signature Bank in New York and the Professional Bank of Florida, also decided they no longer wanted to be associated with the former president. Gotta start stuffing that cash under the bed, baby. Moving us to number 6, Discord. I know, I wasn't expecting Discord on this list either, but here we are. For those of you unaware, Discord is a voice chat-based platform where you could pretty much join chats or groups, usually made up of a community of like-minded people. Almost like Reddit with voice chat, but not really. You kind of just got to experience it to fully understand it. Either way, Trump himself isn't necessarily banned from Discord, nor do I think he even knows what it is. However, there was a server called The Donald, which was banned from the platform, and to no surprise, the reason, I quote, due to its overt connection to an online forum used to incite violence and plan an armed insurrection. What online forum could they possibly be talking about? Obviously 4chan. Just kidding, guys. It wasn't 4chan, but it's a great way for me to segue into my next point. At number 5, Reddit. Now, I'm not going to say that Reddit is turning into 4chan because after the amount of money that I've made off of Wall Street bets, well, it's like night and day. Reddit is like the vaccine and 4chan is like the virus. So to find out that Reddit was the online forum that was being used to plan armed insurrections and incite violence, well, I won't say I was surprised, but I was almost certain it'd be 4chan. However, Reddit is massive and they can only monitor so much. So to no surprise, there were actually numerous threads supporting everything Trump said and stood for, regardless of what it meant or who it would hurt. So when Trump said to show up on January 6th, walk down to the Capitol and show how strong you are, well, these people did exactly that. And following this series of events, Reddit decided to ban the subreddit, which is like a forum, titled r/Donald Trump for, I quote, repeated policy violations in recent days regarding the violence at the US Capitol. In the past, Reddit has also banned the subreddit d_Donald in June last year for violating hate speech policies. On to number 4, we got Stripe, as in the company that accepts payments. These companies are literally saying, we'll lose money to ensure we don't support this guy anymore. Nice. Now, Stripe was actually one of the main payment processing companies that Trump and his campaign used to fundraise. To no surprise, when asked why they've decided to stop accepting payments, they did not have an official comment, but I think we all know what happened here. At one point, it seems PayPal also refused to accept payments, although it's unclear if they're still sticking to that. Taking us to number 3, we got TikTok. Bruh. It seemed since day one, TikTok and Trump had been at odds with each other. Citing the Chinese-owned app as a security risk for months on end, Trump tried to ban the app from the country until ultimately that decision was vetoed. So naturally, the app, which already had a disdain for the president, decided they were going to take things one step further and ban the hashtags Storm the Capitol and Patriot Party. Although it seems Trump doesn't even have a TikTok account, if he did, he'd likely have gotten banned when he tried getting the app removed from the country in the first place. On top of that, the app also removed any clips showing Trump's speech days before the incident when he told supporters they needed to march down to the Capitol. So, it's not like an official ban on him as a person, but like everything to do with him, they're like, I don't want to give you guys the finger, but you guys can pretend I'm doing it. I like you guys too much. Number 2, YouTube. Unlike a handful of the other platforms mentioned, Trump actually had quite a large YouTube following with over 3 million subscribers. They initially temporarily banned the account, I quote, in light of the ongoing potential for violence, but have since extended the ban indefinitely. The ban came into effect after the channel reposted his speech in Texas, where he could be seen saying, I quote, the 25th Amendment is of zero risk to me, but will come back to haunt Joe Biden and the Biden administration. As the expression goes, be careful what you wish for. YouTube didn't specify which policy the channel broke, but it seems they're not letting up on the ban anytime soon. And honestly, I've been on YouTube long enough. Don't expect an answer from them. You're not gonna get one. Now, number 1, New York. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. Too bad Trump can't sing my favorite Sinatra song with me anymore because he's apparently banned from doing work with the entire city of New York. Mayor Bill de Blasio said following the riots at the Capitol, the city would no longer be doing any business with the Trump organization, who had a 30-year-old contract with the city to manage a couple skating rinks in Central Park, as well as the carousel. Aside from this, the mayor also cut ties with Trump's golf course in the Bronx. To no surprise, the Trump family was upset by this, with Eric Trump saying the mayor has no right to do so and will owe them $30 million if he does. Well, if that's the case, maybe I could use that money to pay back the $340 or whatever I said that they owed to the bank. And there you guys have it for the top 10 companies that banned President Donald Trump for life. Let us know your thoughts down below. For now, let's put out some comments from the video. Man has extreme surgery to look like an alien. And let me just say, the comments on this were fire. Zen June said, my reaction 2 years ago would be, what the heck? Now in 2021, sigh, what else is new? I mean, Reddit's taking down Wall Street, that's what's new. Faith Osborne said, imagine aliens coming to Earth and not looking like like imagine an alien comes from the Earth and it looks like this, looks like a Febreze bottle. It looks like a bottle of Febreze. And it's just talking and this guy's like, that's what aliens look like? I'm telling you guys, should have just gotten that surgery to look like a Febreze bottle. Zainab S said, imagine walking in the night alone and seeing this. That's actually a very scary thought, which, I mean, now that I think about it, couldn't you technically make a lot of money like being like a fake Bigfoot? Like if you and a friend, like one person paid to look like Bigfoot, kept it, you know, low key, and then the friend filmed you as Bigfoot, and then you made a lot of money off that. I'm just saying, I got a camera, so if anybody's willing to invest money to make themselves look like Bigfoot, DM me on Instagram. All right, guys, that's all for this one. Let's make some money. I'll see you soon.